Hey guys, I'm Rich Freeman, and today I want to share with you guys this arpeggio sequence that totally transformed the way that I play guitar solos and the way that I improvise. Sometimes, every once in a while, you come across a guitar lesson that kind of makes you see things in a new way. It kind of gives you this little epiphany where you're just like, whoa, I don't know why I didn't see that before. And I'm hoping that if I share this with you today, you're going to get an epiphany like that. Now, I know how important it is to target chord tunes and things like that when you're soloing, but this sequence that I'm going to show you is going to cover the A minor chord specifically, and it's going to be something that you can use and mix in whenever you're soloing over an A minor backing track, or if you're jamming with someone in A minor. This is kind of like step one in just being able to target really one chord throughout a chord progression. And the cool thing about this is once you get this in A minor, it's going to transfer to any other chord, any other minor chord. So D minor, G minor, you name the chord. Once you see this, you're going to be able to transfer it to whatever chord you're playing over. Let's take a look real quick and have a listen. We're going to be in A minor. The sequence is going to sound like this. I'm going to explain it like this to you guys. There are basically three shapes that I am seeing in my mind when I play these arpeggios. Now, these arpeggios are going to appear on the top three strings, but really what I'm seeing in my head is some bigger chords. And in the sense of A minor, the first chord I'm looking at is the A minor bar chord, okay? This A minor bar chord, on the top of it, it has this little A minor arpeggio. And I like to add the C note. So just for all intents and purposes, A minor has the notes A, C, E. So every arpeggio I play is going to have the notes A, C, E. That's root, flat third, and fifth. This first shape, you have your A on the top string, C, and then E on the B string. Doesn't matter if you memorize that or not, this sequence is going to work. So anyway, we're going to go C, E, A, and hit the C on the top. And then back down. Right? Now you don't have to practice that like this, although that will really help you out a lot. That's going to be the first thing that I'm seeing here. So I'm seeing this A minor chord, and I'm seeing the arpeggio right here on the top three strings. And that is also being outlined by the A minor pentatonic scale. So I have three things I'm looking at: chord, arpeggio, and scale. Okay? The next shape that we're going to use is going to be the A minor shape on the top three strings. That is also known as, this is like the D minor shape, right? Everybody calls it the D minor shape because you play your open D minor down there. But we're sliding that shape all the way down to 12, or sorry, to 10. And that's going to give us our A minor. And we have the notes E, A, C. So the root note is on the B string, right? And the way that we're going to play this arpeggio is going to be like this. Index finger on 9 on G, middle on the 10th fret of the B string. Index is going to stretch back to 8 on the high E string, and your pinky is going to hit the 12 on the high E. And then I like to do a pull off, up, up. And that's how I play that shape, okay? You're free to try other fingerings if you want to, but that's the way I play it. And so now this shape here, okay, that is going to be the chord that I'm seeing. That is the arpeggio I'm seeing. And then scale-wise, there's actually two scales that I personally see here. I see pentatonic mode 2. So in the case of A minor, it would be this shape. That shape, I'm seeing that on top of this. Okay? But I also, if I'm playing the arpeggio, right, that 12th fret up here kind of bumps into mode 3 of the A minor pentatonic scale. So I also see it that way. So what that means is that when I'm using this scale shape, right, or this arpeggio shape, I am looking for those scale notes as I'm improvising. And that helps me to sort of create this thing where like I see the arpeggio, I see the chord, I see the scale, and I can start to mix the three together. Okay, and then the third shape is going to be this A minor down here. And what I'm seeing here is an A minor bar chord with the arpeggio on top, A, C, E, A. And this is surrounded by the scale pentatonic mode 4. Okay, and what I'm doing there now is I can play this arpeggio and I can play my licks that I have in mode 4. So again, it's chord, scale, and arpeggio. Each one of those positions, I'm looking for that. Essentially, the main thing I want you guys to grasp out of this is that we have three chord shapes. We have A minor in the first position, root note on the low E string. We have the A minor with the root note on the B string, and then we have an A minor and the root note is on the G string, okay? And I'm just playing those as 3-string chords. So you would want to be able to play this sort of in sequence like this. You just kind of want to get used to where that jump is. Now, the cool thing about this shape, and this is the sequence you're going to learn, is it's going to sound like this. The reason I like to add the 3 together is because you create this long descending sequence of notes, which just sounds super cool. And it's one of those things, like when I was learning how to solo and stuff, I always wanted to do a run where I started up high and I ended up down low. And this is one of those things where I kind of scratched that itch, especially with a little bit of distortion. I'd have my little, that kind of thing. And I just always thought that sounded cool. So I love that run. So anyway, I would practice that. And again, the way that we're playing this is this top shape. We're going 17, pull off the 12 on the high E string, 13 on the B string, 14 on the G string. That's the first shape. And then we're going to go where our index finger was, the 12, we're going to slide back with our pinky. So we come down this first shape. Our pinky grabs the 12, pulls off the 8. I know that seems like a big stretch, but you can do it. And then it goes to 10 on B and then 9 on G. And then our pinky is going to slide down to the 8 where this one left off, right? 8, it's going to pull off the 5 and then 5, 5. And I land on the A string down there because it just resolves it nice. So it's like, and you'll notice here when I do this 8, pull off, 5, 5, 7 thing, my index finger sort of rolls. I'm not doing this. I'm not trying to like jump my finger up the string. I'm actually rolling my index finger. That way I can just roll into that arpeggio. And it's all ups. So I hit the down on the 8, pull off, up, up, up. All together. And just once more for the picking, it is down, pull off, up, up, down, pull off, up, up, down, pull off, up, up. Okay? So you guys should learn that sequence like that, and then after you kind of just can go, after you can run through that, you're going to go back and you're going to try to play the arpeggio and then play the scale around it. Now, why is this sequence so important? It's important because you're learning how to connect those 3 different shapes in succession down the neck. This is one of these things that when you start to improvise, you want to be able to connect different arpeggios in different spots. And when you're playing in A minor or any key, you're always wanting to try to target chord tones or notes that are part of the chords that are being played. Now, if you're playing over a backing track that's in A minor, all these A's that we're playing, all these ACEs essentially that we're playing all over the neck are going to sound good over the chords as they're being revolved around. And I'll show you in a second here with a track playing. This is one of those things that when I tell students, like, if you have to spend time practicing something, this is a sequence I think is well worth the time. It's not really a meaningless arpeggio sequence that you're just learning for some arbitrary reason. This is something that actually becomes incredibly useful when you're soloing and improvising. And I love exercises like that because they serve a certain purpose. I'm going to play a track and I'm just going to improvise a little bit. And I want you guys to see if you can see me using those little shapes. I'm going to also mix in the pentatonic scale and things like that just to add a little bit more flavor so it doesn't just sound like I'm practicing. Because a lot of times when I teach people this sequence, if they just play it up and back, it sounds like you're practicing arpeggios when you're trying to improvise, and it doesn't sound that cool. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They're like, this doesn't sound like music. This just sounds like I'm practicing essentially. So I'm going to try to not just sound like I'm practicing, but I'm going to show you in both contexts. Let's give it a shot here. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that one more time. Now I'll just improvise a little bit. See if you can see where I'm using these shapes. Did that sound awesome, guys? If it did, please let me know by leaving a comment below and tell me if you like this kind of style of lesson where I'm talking about improvisation and visualization aspects on the guitar, you know, with arpeggios and scales and things like that. Anyway, so far I've just been throwing licks at you guys, but this is more of like a conceptual thing, but also an exercise. So anyway, me hearing from you guys really helps me know what kind of material to make. Guys, thank you so much for helping me get closer to that 1,000. I'm at 970 now. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Check out my guitar flashcards, guys. They are awesome. The holidays are coming up. If you know a guitar player that needs to study their music theory, that is the perfect gift to give to them. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you.